Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Decryption and I hope you are well. In some previous tutorials we've made this patrol point system. It's got an editor plugin to make it easier to use. It can be used in all sorts of ways to tell the guards to patrol around certain areas. Each node even has specialist options you can put in using gameplay tags in order to change what happens as they walk around. But there's one critical flaw with it, and that's due to the way Unreal's system works. And that is, he stops at every single patrol point. No matter what you do, he will always stop and then move to the next one. Even if it's sudden, like a small frame. And today, we're going to fix that. So let's get started. So, as I said in the intro, he does stop at every single one. A little bit noticeable when they're walking, it's not super smooth, but it's very noticeable in the running episodes we've been doing. So if you've not been watching, we've been creating a racing system where people can walk to the finish line, and it's using the patrol path system because why not? It works really well. So you'll see, as they run to each patrol point, they stop and they turn. And it's really dodgy and noticeable. You can see he just jerks like that. And they'll just get to... Well, she's been disqualified. But yeah, they just stop at every single one. And it's entirely down to Unreal's system that does that. And that is the node we use, move to location or actor. We use this in order to say when you're finished or not. Because it's really helpful to know. If you send them to a location and you want them to tell you when they're finished... They're going to stop. As soon as they call finish, they're stopped, that's it. They're not going to keep walking. And for a race, or for our system where we want it to be smooth, it's not great. So depending on how you've created your patrol points, whether you use state trees, behavior trees, your own blueprints or whatever, if you're using state trees, unfortunately, you can only do it in 5.6 at the moment. Because Unreal 5.5 does not let you run timers or a tick event without C++ in state tree tasks. You have to use Unreal 5.6 because that's where they've added the functionality. It's got a few weird quirks to it, but that's how you do it. If you're using Unreal 5.5 or below, and you're using something else other than state trees, you can just do it. So that's a little bit of a pain problem. But if you are wanting to stick with anything under 5.6, but you want to keep using state trees, you can do it with C++. That's something you're going to have to do in order to follow along and run ticks and stuff. So as you can see, I have upgraded to 5.6. The upgrade was pretty smooth, to be honest. I copied the project. I opened it in 5.6. It errored about a bunch of plugins. I updated the plugins, and it just worked. And I've not had any major issues. The part what you need to fix is twofold. The first one is you can't use this latent node here. Because if this node runs, as soon as finished or request is done, that's it, it's game over. And we need it to keep smoothly walking. So what we're going to do instead is instead of his destination being the patrol point he needs to go to, we're going to put a fake actor in the world and say, just follow this actor. And no matter where this actor is, we will tell him, just keep following this actor. And where he is, just keep following him like a snake. That's all you need to do. And then what we'll do is we will move the actor to this location and say, come here. And he'll walk towards the actor. And then as soon as he gets close enough not to stop himself, we'll move the actor to the next one and say, hey, now come here. And he will just seamlessly move to the next one. But if he gets close enough to here and this has got an animation or a waiting or something, then of course as soon as he arrives at this and the patrol point moves to the next one, he will indeed perform that function. So it sounds quite complex, but it's actually really simple to build in with the way we've built the current patrol system. For anybody who's not following this series but you've stumbled on the whole I want to this fix, that's basically what you need to do. Make him follow something else, make that something else stop at these points, and him just continuously follow it. That's how you'll get around it. Let's start by creating a basic actor, just for him to follow. That's all it's going to be. So I'm going to go into my content drawer, and I will just keep this inside the AI folder, because that's what it's for. I'll right click, blueprint class, and I'll just choose actor, and I'll call it BP Smooth Patrol Point. And I'll open it up. The point of this is literally just to be an actor. That's really it. I tried to spawn just a normal actor, but it was giving me some weird quirks that you couldn't move it or anything like that for some reason. So if you just set it as a blueprint, that's fine. We're going to make the code clean itself up and be self-contained anyway. For debugging purposes, I am just going to come and add in a cube, and I'll massively shrink it down to like 0.2. I'll move it up. I'll probably assign it the green material we've got, like that. And then I'll also remove all of collision from it because we don't want anything blocking it, like so. No collision. I'll also make sure there's no nav mesh. Eventually, we will hide this in the game, but for debugging purposes while we're building it, it's very helpful to know where it's spawning, as you can see. And the point is, we want him to follow that cube, and we'll just move it around like that to each node and say follow it. I'm going to come and open up my state tree task that moves to a patrol point. If you don't have this, all it basically does is check if it's got an actor to follow, meaning they should have a patrol point. If they don't, it stops the logic and stops the state tree from running. But if they do have an actor to follow, then it checks if it's a patrol point. If it's not, it finishes the task unsuccessfully because this is a patrol point following thing. If it is a patrol point, it sets it as their current patrol point and then tells them go to it. Nice and simple. If it fails, it fails it. If it doesn't, it passes. So the way we're going to change it is we're going to say if we're telling this patrol point to be a smooth patrol point, to do some other logic. So I'm going to come in and add a boolean called smooth patrol points. And this is basically going to mean they'll walk around it seamlessly. They won't stop at each one. And we're making it a boolean because you might want them to stop at someone. So I'll keep it unchecked by default and just make sure it's instance editable. All that does is in our state tree, go to patrol point, we can literally just see it's a tick box here. We can turn it on or off if we create another patrol system. You can either make it pull from the NPC or some other logic if you want. Then the first thing I'm going to do, after we've checked if they've got a valid patrol point, I'm going to move this back. And the first thing I'm going to do is get the NPC, and I'm going to set their movement mode to walking. And the reason we've got to do this is if we're telling them to always follow the new target we're going to add in, they're not going to stop unless that target stops. Meaning if they walk to here and they need to play an animation and the target moves to that one, they're not going to play the animation, they're just going to keep walking as well as playing the animation looking really dodgy. So we need to tell them, at least on this one, if you're calling this node you should be walking, and then on the other nodes we're going to tell them you shouldn't be walking at all. So I'll set that to walking like so. Also, while we're on the topic of 5.6, 5.6 now lets you change a state tree live. So if I can come in and do set state tree, you can actually set the state tree now. Before, that was only available in C++, so we were going to have to do some really hacky things to change their logic. Now, you can set the state tree. It's fantastic. But yes, so we set the movement mode to walking. That's the first thing we do. Then, we're going to check, are we smoothing our patrol point? Now we've set the movement mode to walking, we're going to go back to the normal one, where we're setting their current patrol point, like so. But instead of doing this normal move here, we're going to move this down, and we're going to add a branch here. And we're going to say, are you smoothing your patrolling point? If you aren't, it can just come down, do the normal move, stop when finished. Pretty much, that's it. However, if we are smoothing their patrol points, then this is where we can start spawning the patrol point smoother tool thing in. The target they have to follow if you. So, back on my NPC, I'm just going to give them a variable called smooth patrol point target, and this will just be our smooth patrol point, like so. It doesn't need to be instance editable, and I will compile and save. And the reason we're doing this is the first thing we're going to do when we're smoothing patrol points is we're just going to check, have you already got one? Because if they don't have one, we'll create one, spawn one in the map, and use it here. But if it comes round again, so they've come down the first time, it's spawned it, they've followed it, it's done it, they've got to the next patrol point, it already exists, so we'll just move it at that point. making it very efficient. So we don't want all the performance hits to constantly spawning these in. We spawn them once, we reuse them as much as we need to. So I will right click this smooth patrol point target and just do convert to validated get. That just saves us a node from checking it, like so. If it's not valid, then we'll drag down and do spawn actor from class. The actor we want to spawn is our smooth patrol point. And I'll just make some more space down here. Collision settings, we're just going to say always spawn ignore collisions because there are no collisions. And the transform, I will just split like so. The location we want to spawn it in is actually going to be our first patrol point here. So I'm going to get the NPC owner and do get patrol point. And then I'm going to get its location. So get actor location. And I'm just going to attach it to the location here. So the first time we spawn this in, we will spawn it at the patrol point they need to go to. So when we start the game, he's there. The first one will be there. And that's where it'll spawn it. After that, I'm going to get the NPC owner again, and this time I'm now going to set their smooth patrol point to the actor we've just spawned in. And all that does is now make this go to is valid next time because we've populated it. And then I can drag this up here, and I'm just going to press R to add a little node in there. Because what we're going to do is come back up to the is valid here, and because we now do have a smooth patrol point target, on the second time we come round, I'm going to get this smooth patrol target, and I'm going to come and set its actor location. And then the location we want is our current patrol point actor target. So it's basically the same thing as below, except in the bottom one we're spawning a new actor, in the top one we're editing an existing one. That's where your performance boost comes from. Because if you call spawn actor every single time, that's going to take a tank on your performance, because that is not a light node. Quite complex. The more complex your blueprint is, the more it's got. Whereas if you just move it, it's a lot less calculations it has to handle. And then we'll drag this into the existing node we've just put there, look. And I'll wrap this in a comment. Spawn or edit smooth patrol point. So you might be thinking, why are we spawning in an empty actor and telling them to follow that? Why can't we just tell the actor, the smooth patrol point actor, to move to a location or actor? And that is a good point. We could treat this one as a secondary character, and this is the main character, and it follows it. But if you imagine, if I press P, you can see every single time he walks, it's got to calculate the nav mesh physics all the way around it each time, detecting if it can walk there, detecting if it's hit anything, if it needs to stop, its speed, it's got to do every other calculation it's got to do. That's quite a lot. And then if you're going to have two characters doing it because they need to follow each other to become smoother, that's even more work it's got to do. Whereas if we simply move the actor to the right location and just keep one of them following it, it's one seamless process and you've still only got one NPC in your world. It also means that I can have 50 of these NPCs, whereas if I had both of them treated as a character, I could only have 25 because I'd essentially already have another 25. I hope that makes sense. And now, here is a little bit more logic we're going to put in for optimizations. So I'm going to get the NPC owner, and I'm going to get their velocity. And this is going to tell us how fast or how slow they're moving. If they're moving more than 0, it means they're currently in motion, so we don't need to tell them to refollow the actor, they already are. However, if they reach one of these points and the actor hits it, or they've hit the end of the patrol point, the actor's going to stop. So we need to tell them on the next round to refollow that command again, reissue it. We don't need to reissue it again and then again. So on get velocity, I'll just get the length, and then I'll say, is it more than, and we'll do something like, something minor. And we'll add a branch, and we'll connect it across. So if it's false, that it's not more than 0.3, it means they're almost stopped or they're stopping. So we're immediately going to come and get the NPC owner, and then we're going to get their AI controller, and we're immediately going to tell them, hey, move to actor. And now this is something that actually delayed this video quite a bit for me. Because normally, if you've watched any of my videos, I absolutely love the move to actor or location. It's one of my favourite nodes to use because it's seamless and it tells you when it's done. And maybe one of you Unreal gurus out there can answer this because I'm not 100% sure. But if you put this in here And after this, we're going to set a timer that checks the distance and moves the nodes. That timer, even though it calls finish, will not finish the task if this node is still pending to be finished. And of course, we don't want this node to ever call finish, because then they'll stop. It's really weird. So if you've got this node running, and we're keeping this one down here, that's okay because it's not being run. But it's like when this runs, it tells Unreal, hey, I'm waiting on a task to complete. So it has to wait until the NPC walks up and stops, and then, only then, it will complete the task. It's really weird, whereas this node is a fire and forget node. It says, hey, do this, go away. That's it. So if you have this one in the smooth one, it won't actually work. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to find that. So we'll connect this to the false, and then on the goal, we're just going to come and set it, not to the current patrol point, but instead the smooth target, because that's what we've spawned before and that's what we keep moving around. The acceptance radius I'm actually going to set to something like 100, just like the one down here. And if they do get that close, then so be it. That's fine, it happens. They'll just be told to restart next. And then after that, I'll just press R again to add it up there. However, if they are currently in motion, then we don't really need to do anything. They're currently in motion, so we can just drag it straight across. And then here is the key part to making it work. We're going to come and set a timer by event. And this is the reason you need Unreal 5.6, because in 5.5, timers will not run at all. Neither will delegates or event dispatchers and a few other things. I don't know why, it just seemed to be there. And in the 5.6 notes, they were like, hey, we've now added this ability. Fantastic. So that's why I need 5.6. If you don't want to use 5.6, but you still want to run this, you're going to have to almost move all this logic to your NPC directly, and then see if you can make this state tree only update when the NPC tells it to run. That should work in theory, but I've not tested it. That's why I moved to 5.6. But state trees are still, unfortunately, an experimental. So we'll drag down from event, and we'll just do add custom event called timer tick. Call it whatever you want, really. The time I'm going to set to something really low, but not framely low. So I'll set it to something like 0.01, so it runs that often. I'll make sure it's looping, and only max once per frame. So that basically means if this runs, and it calculates something, but that calculation takes long enough that this can run again, it will block that second one because it's already currently running. It's a nice way of preventing it from glitching out. Before we carry on with the timer tick, I am just going to come and promote this timer to a variable called timer. And I'll make sure it's a private variable, mainly because we need to stop the timer before we can carry on. So this timer is the timer that's going to run to detect how close this NPC is to their destination. Because before we were saying, go to the patrol point and tell us when you've finished. So he'll walk up, hit the patrol point, he'll stop moving and say, hey, I've finished it. Then the patrol point will move, tell him to walk again, he'll walk again. Whereas this time what we're doing is saying, hey, follow this cube. So he'll walk towards the cube will go, hey, that's close enough, I'm going to walk over here now. And he will go, oh, you've moved, I'll walk over here then. In a seamless manner. So that timer is going to be the thing that checks it. If you make the timer too big, so like once a second, you've got to imagine how quickly he's going to arrive to the location in a second. It's quite quick. And we can prove this by if we just click play, you'll see his move. If I hit pause and break out, you can see he's right there. He's on that tile. If I press this next frame, that's a single Unreal frame, press it, you see his animation is playing, but that's a single frame. That's like, if your game's running at 60 frames per second, that's a single frame in a second. So if I tap it a lot of times, you see, he does actually cover a lot of grounds per frame. So if you imagine a single second, I'll just click play and pause. 1 second. He's almost covered an entire tile. So you need to be confident enough that it's going to go across and check frequent enough. Because if he hits here, he's going to stop. And we don't want him to stop. So that's why I've bumped it up. I've also made it 0.01 because if he's running, he's going to cover even more tiles per time. Which is why we need to check often. You might be asking, why don't we just use event tick? It seems perfect for this. And you are right, event tick is perfect. but it appears to be broken. Still, I can't get event tick to work. If I come and add print hello, look, that should just work, right? And then you will see it just doesn't work. From what I've read online, you need to tell it in C++ to enable the tick for this state tree task. But we're not using C++. Not everybody wants to use C++. And there's no options to tell it to run. That's why we're using a timer to compensate. When event tick eventually does work, I will replace this timer with the event tick. So we'll see. But yes, back on the timer now, we need to check the distance between the NPC and the patrol point. So I'll get my NPC owner, and then I will get the smooth patrol point target, and I will get its actor location. And then from the same NPC owner, I'm going to get their actor location. So the patrol point's location and the actor's location. I'm going to do a distance by vector and plug them all in, like so. And then I'm going to say, is this less than? And this is another figure that you're going to need to kind of balance for your game, depending on how fast it runs, what FPS you're targeting. I've set mine to 200 and got results I'm happy with. And you need to balance this between the timer and this distance here. Because if your timer's checking every 1 second, and it's set to, say, 500, every second it's going to go check. Check. Okay, now move. And then he's going to have to move like that, and he'll completely bypass the actual point of the patrol point. In mine, it's not too bad. There's a wide area. If he's walking around a platform or some scaffolding or pavement, you're not going to want him to stop and then walk down. But equally, if it's checking so rapidly but the number is so large, as soon as it ticks, it's going to go change. And then you're going to have to bypass again. So you want to kind of get it, depending on his speed or the scenario you've got, far away he needs to be versus how often it checks. So for mine, I'm checking every 0.01 second, so every microsecond, which is still not that a lot compared to changing for the frames. I'm checking every 0.01 second and at 200 units distance, which for me, I believe, is about there, something like that. It's not enough that he's going to stop because his stopping distance is set to 100 and he's not running more than 100 units per frame because he's not running, he's just walking. If it was running, I'd probably bump this number up a little bit more. Maybe that's something we'll do in the future. Get their current movement speed and figure out a distance that we need to tell them to update. But for now, for me at least, 0.01 seconds checking and a distance of 200 is enough for me. But experiment with it, see what you need to find. Just change those two numbers. Mainly start with that one. If it's false, we're not going to do anything because it's not arrived yet. If it's true, we're going to take the timer and just clear it and stop it because the timer's basically done its job now. And then we're going to come and call finish task successfully. This finish task won't stop him from running. He will keep following it. But the point is, this finish task is going to come down here and say, do you need to wait? Do you need to play any dialogue, any animation, get a new blah, blah, blah. And then it'll eventually come to get a new patrol point, which will move them back into here. It will keep running this and say, hey, we're smoothing. Check all of this, saying we've already got one. Let's move it. Are you still walking? Yes, you are. Just keep walking. And then it'll keep checking you. And that's the point of it. It's meant to be seamless and smooth for the character to. So the only other thing we've got to do is something I said at the beginning. We're setting his movement mode to walking here, but we need him to stop if he's playing dialogue. So inside my play named dialogue, I'm only going to tell him to stop if he's going to play some dialogue. So I'll move that across and place it here. You could also promote this to a variable and say whether or not you wanted him to stop. Because you very well might want him to walk around and go, ugh, this place looks horrible, whilst he's still walking. That's an option, but for me, for now, I'm just going to tell him to stop walking. And then also, if he plays an animation, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tell him to stop. And I'll connect that to the true and to the async load here. So just double check we've set them to none. Yep, we have. And that really should be it. So now, all of these will run like normal. These will stop him from walking, which is okay. The go to patrol point, I want smooth patrol points. And we'll hit compile and save. So what you should see is you should see that green cube spawn in. It'll be there. He will slowly walk to it. Before he touches it, it will move to the next one. And if you are copying my patrol point. You may not have this. It could have been me while I was debugging it. Just make sure the go to patrol point on succeeded goes to the should NPC wait. It goes to the next state. You can even change it to the next state because they've fixed that. It shouldn't go straight to get new patrol point, otherwise you'll never stop. So on here, I haven't got anything, no animations, no tags. So let's just click play and see what happens. And you'll see this time he will start walking. These two have been disabled, so they're not going to do anything. But you will see the patrol point will move before he gets to it, and he's not going to stop walking. As you can see, he just continues walking, which is nice. This one does have an animation on it and a random chance to play dialogue.
Rats?
And he will stop.
Someone should clean up this place.
And then you'll see, once his animation stops... Oh, he's decided to have a cigarette this time. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. And once he's finished interrupting my video, thank you for that, animations on my Patreon, he will continue walking, as you can see. And this one doesn't have anything, so he should just hit it and smoothly go to the next one. As you can see, no stopping. We can improve it a little bit if you come to your NPC and open him up. So we're going to come and search for rotation on the NPC. And we're going to untick on the pawn, use controller rotation yaw. Untick it. And then on the character movement component, we're going to come and tick orient rotation to movement. And all this is going to do is if they're moving in a direction, it's going to smoothly rotate them around. And you can see the 360 is how quickly they'll turn. We'll test it out and see whether or not that works. So if we click play this time, you should see that his movement should be a lot smoother now. So as he hits this, he's not going to snap as much. He smoothly rotates. You can see he's strafing there. I don't quite like that. But his movements are a lot smoother. To stop the strafing, we can come back to the move point. And where we tell him to move, let's just drop it down. He can't strafe. He can't move sideways if you wish. So we'll compile that. Let's try it this time. So you'll see he'll smoothly walk. And then he should smoothly turn just like that. Oh, isn't that so much better? You see he's not going to strafe here. He will stop and he will rotate. How much nicer is that, ladies and gentlemen? So you see he's coming here. What's he doing this time? He is throwing a rock around because there's a few things he can do here. Woo. Yes, look at that. Even put his hand on his chest like, oh my. And then he's going to carry on. And then he's going to hit this one and smoothly rotate sideways. There, look at that. That is so much better. Editor, can we see the before here? Look at that. It's terrible. Look at it now. So much better. What's it going to do here? So he's going to get wet here. He's got a random chance of playing a dialogue, but he's not going to. But yes, there you go. That is how you smooth an AI out in Unreal's state trees. If we go back to our racing, which I am absolutely going to have to remember to tell the racing videos that's how you do it, and you will see if we come and run it this time on the race controller, we will start the race. The racers walk to the starting line and they prepare for the race. I could even join this one, but I've already started it with the AI. But they're going to annihilate me. So you'll see, instantly, they're moving straight to it. The pathfinding needs a little bit of work. Look at him, he's absolutely destroyed me. No, without even an attempt, he's destroyed me. So I can start the race with the player, and everybody walk back in check, and I'll walk in too. And you will see, go, 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 go. There's no way I'm going to beat him. He's so fast. Absolutely got to upgrade my character in order to do this. Yep, no, can't even beat him. Look, there you go. Smooth patrol points, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? Would you have attempted it in a different way to make them smoothly hit each patrol point without stopping? Let me know below. It's absolutely fantastic that we've built it into a checkbox as well. So if we do want them for any reason to stop at each point, we can just tick it. Equally, you can just add animations to each one. So thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this was helpful. What should we add to the patrol points next to carry them on? Should we add random actions to them to make them actually do something other than animation or dialogue? Such as fire a weapon or something. We could do anything. Let me know below. Thank you for watching. My name is Decryption and I will see you next time.